All right, today we're going to talk about drawing some different characters. We've talked about um, inking, we've talked about perspective, 3D. We're going to talk about doing some characters. Now, we've seen these before. I've done my little guys kind of like this. And we do these really quick little drawings, put the expressions on them. We're going to talk about some more characters. So there's a little guy. We have this. Seen this in the other videos. Okay, so now let's talk about some other characters. These are some of my favorites. Now, what if they have a little doggy? We're going to put some long floppy ears on this guy. And we're going to have him sitting here. And his tail's wagging. Put his foot like that. Put a collar on him. Now, put them sitting at a table. There's a dog. So now we've got this little scene like this. Just sketching things out. Let's talk about how we might want to draw our animals. So we can start with a shape like this. Now remember, I'm going to be using lines that we may want to erase later on. I'm going to talk about that in a second here. We're putting in some basic shapes. So here's some basic shapes to start out how our dog would be laying down, for example. Tail might be like that. May have some ears like that. May have some floppy ears. What if we did that? And let's talk about some different ways we would do it. Let's have them like this. Okay, so here's this laying down dog. Now, when I sketch in pencil, I draw a lot differently. Really sketch out my lines to kind of figure out where I want things to go and exactly how I want this to look. So this is a dog laying down, okay? So we have this kind of thing. It's pencil, so it's a little more difficult to see. Now, if I had drawn that and I liked that cartoon, I say, okay, I like this guy. That's my pencil. We talked about inking things in. I would go ahead and decide which lines I liked, which ones I didn't, and we will go ahead and darken this in. So now we have an idea of what this guy looks like. Let's put a collar on him too. We don't want him to get lost. And something like that, okay? Then we would go ahead and erase those pencil lines. Let's do a cat. Now, if we had one looking towards us, we could have this kind of shape. Big fat cat. So these are just some quick sketches. Now, this cartoon cat, obviously this is drawn very, very roughly. If I were to do this in pencil, same kind of thing. If you remember from my other drawings, I had done some chickens that I did as, I used to refer to them as bowling pin chickens. And the reason is this shape here looks to me like a bowling pin. Other kids have referred to it as a potato. Now, here's my basic shapes. So I've used this kind of shape here, potato shape. Then I put some circles in here. These would be like his cheeks. His eyes would go in here. And then this would become his nose. All right. This one I sketched out quickly in the marker, as you saw. This one in pencil. Let's see how this looks. When we ink this in, and now I can add a little bit of hair there like that. This kind of thing. Watch this. This is cool. The nose in. He's going to be looking at the other cat. And I can narrow up that neck a little bit here. Still got that nice big fat body. And I'm notice changing a little bit on his feet. Not going into a lot of detail. These are cartoon cats. And then these legs sticking out the side here like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a tail in the back. Now, that's what we have. So we've got this kitty cat. Then, of course, we erase those guidelines. And sometimes when I erase the guidelines, I notice, oh, there's something I forgot to ink in. Maybe I wanted it a little bit darker there. Maybe I wanted something a little changed up. Also, like this guy, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit, just that to his ears. And I'm going to put some of that in. And look at, even have his tongue hanging out like that. So we've got this dog and this cat. Then, I can still see those, right? Perfect. Now, I want to move this down a little bit. Let's say that we had, I had some bunnies in our yard. Look what we've got here. Little bunny. And he's got his little nose wiggling. That's the other thing too. With our cartoons, we can add this action to make his tail moving. Okay. Make his little nose wiggling. We could add some fur to this guy as we went along. If I did this in pencil, I would do this sort of thing here. And then erase the pencil lines. That would add some texture to them. Texture to our little bunny. And again, these are just really quick little sketches that we can do. Take a look at what we have here for shapes. We have circle, kind of an oval here. We've got a circle here. All right, circle here for his tail. We've got all these basic shapes that we kind of put together, and that's where we get our characters. Now, those are some animals. We've done some of the kids that I've done and stuff. What about some inanimate objects? So one of the things that I use for my logo, for example, is a lamp. And I put these weird feet on it. Then I put some arms. And in mine, I have them reaching up and turning the lamp on. So there we've animated an inanimate object. Okay, we've created this character. Now, if you've seen some of my other cartoons, we do these comparisons of inanimate objects, one to another. So for example, in this cartoon, I may have a candle. And in the candle, you could make the flames his face, or you could make his face down here. And you could put some arms on him. Now, what would he be saying? You are not very bright. So notice I did that first, did my words first. It says you are not very bright. The lamp is saying that. A lot of nice space around here. Then I'm going to ink in the lettering. I'm using a thinner marker for that because it bleeds like crazy on this paper. You are not very bright. Then at this point, I would go ahead and erase that. Pencil lines. And that's what we have. So there's just a couple of things, and we're going to go into more detail on how we're doing our characters. We'll create some more animals. We'll do them in more cartoons. And we'll do some more people too. So here's a bunch of stuff that we've talked about today.